Shalom Israel. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakwadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that did teach us this truth. And as always, peace and mercy to the hopefully elect. All right. Just a very quick lesson or example of confusion of face, speckled bird. You hear these two terms a lot by the prophets of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai through the spirit. And it was just on my spirit just to give an example of that. So we'll start at Daniel 9 and verse 8. O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. All right, this is going into face value. All right, because we understand that we're spirits. This is a spiritual thing. All right, and because what our brother Daniel is telling us, because of our transgressions, our sin, we have this quote unquote confusion of face going into for face value. All right. How we were intended to look through the process of time, mixing and matching sin. We can't really tell for face value, all right, looking at a person in their face based off of their quote unquote skin color, if they are an Israelite or not. All right. So it's producing a lot of confusion just on that face value level. Okay, I'll go on. To the Lord our God, Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. All right, and going into that, those mercies and the forgiveness, starting with the Lord's hopeful elect, he's showing mercy and forgiveness unto that hopeful elect to be able to be blessed with the spirit to discern these things, man, and knowing that they're going to be true, predestined Israelites that don't have, dark skin. All right. Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants, the prophets. All right. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore, the curse, all right, is poured upon us. And going into the curse, man, what is the curse? Going back, this is Daniel going back to the beginning of the book around Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, when the Lord after the Lord gave us, the law, statutes, and commandments, and he gave us, the protocol. Say if we did obey him, he gave a list, all right, of blessings. I'm gonna bring it out after this, a list of blessings, and then after he said, gave the list of those blessings, he gave a list of curses that will fall upon our nation if we transgress his law, and that is exactly what happened. All right. So the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him. And you best believe it. Once we take a look at Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and we'll look at some of the curses, you can see that it's our people. But again, going back to that confusion of face, man, and part of our curse package, if you will, was the Lord was going to scatter us all throughout these nations, all throughout these so-called countries, man. All right. And we're everywhere, and we don't really know who people are just looking at them. All right. That's why, we have to be spiritual about everything that we do and not lean to our own understanding, but trust the spirit, trust the gifts of discernment, all right, faith that the Lord, had provided. There's a lot of people in our nation that know that they're Israelites that are stuck on this face value thing, dark skin, if you don't have dark skin and woolly hair, then you just can't be an Israelite. And we're saying that's wrong. This is going back to the confusion of face. So let's take a look at two examples, my favorite examples. All right, for face value, because I don't, you have to go back and back and back. And again, we always say this, you are your nationality. All right. They call it race here in Babylon the Great, but the Lord deals with nations. So your nationality, all right, is whatever nationality your father is. All right. And his father and his father, and goes back and back and back. You know what I mean? And Lord willing, through the spirit, we believe, our, forefathers go back, all right, to Abraham, Isaac and Jacob. Okay. But let's take a look, at two examples of some confusion of face. Bingo, Jack. All right, so what you looking at For face value, that looks like a so-called white man, all right, and a so-called black woman, and these are their children. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Tia and Tamara. All right, the infamous Tia and Tamara twins. All right, and that's their father. All right, as you can see, he don't look like a black man, but you best believe if you seen Tia Tamara growing up on their show and the way they act, man, you could swear that they had a so-called black daddy. All right, but this is what we're saying. Woe to us for confusion of face. If this is their father, and this man's father is a so-called white man of Edomite, then guess what that makes Tia and Tamara, ladies and gentlemen? That means that these two chicks aren't Israelites. Let's take a look at another picture right quick. Boom. All right, there he is again. There's Tia and Tamara. All right, and that's their father all the way to the left. You see what I'm saying? And I could have sworn, if I didn't know this recently, within these recent years coming into this truth, I could have sworn up and down that these was, quote unquote sisters, sisters of the Israelite nation. But come to find out, they not even Israelites. Do you see what we're saying here, man? Do you see? Woe to us for this confusion of face, man. It's a lot of confusion. And again, this is all face value, because I don't know, all right, their father, who his father is and his father is. All right. But again, that's why I say for face value. All right. Just looking at each other, you would swear up and down that Tia and Tamara was so-called black. All right, let's take another example on the other side. Get that right there. All right, this is Rashida Jones on the left, and this is her mother. All right, her mother looks like a so-called white woman, Edomite. And for me, if I seen Rashida, I would say she looked like, for the most part, a white girl. All right, this is Quincy Jones' daughter. All right, let's take a look at Quincy Jones. Y'all know who Quincy Jones is, man. Big time record producer, man. All right, there he is right there. He's old now, you know what I mean? But this is Quincy, their daughter Rashida, and that's Quincy's wife. All right, Rashida in the middle. You know what I mean? For if she look a little, melanated right next to Quincy, but if you see her, on her own, and then she's an actress. She's been in, a lot of shows, a lot of movies, man. All right, so you would swear that old Rashida. All right, listen to her name though, right? It sounds like a sister. All right, but if you just look at her, especially in those movies and shows, you would say that Rashida is a so-called white girl, a white woman. And come to find out that if this is truly, Rashida's father, that would make Rashida an Israelite. All right. And again, for face value, assuming that Quincy, because he's a dark skinned man and got woolly hair, assuming that he's possibly an Israelite. All right. So that would make Rashida an Israelite as well. Woe to us for the confusion of face. We don't know who each other is, man. All right. So that's why we have to always be spiritual. All right. And you pray to Yahweh Shema for that discernment, man. And again, going back to these Israelite camps that push that agenda that you can only be an Israelite if you look a certain way. No. You're producing even more confusion, within our nation, man. But this is why we need Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, we need Yahweh to send his son Yahweh Shai to fix these things, man. Now it's already manifesting through the spirit, starting with, the prophets, all right, and the listeners and the ones that hearken unto the prophets, to be blessed with that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of all these things, all right, to know, all right, how we got into that position. So let's take a, I don't have to go through all of them, but let's take a look at some of those, the curse package, if you will, of Deuteronomy, your 28th chapter, and just look at some of the curses that the Lord said will be brought upon us. All right. So, there it is. The Lord explaining, hey, if y'all obey the commandments given to you this day, as you can see, blessed, verse 4, blessed, verse 5, blessed, all right, verse 6, blessed. And he's explaining all the blessings that will become upon us, all right, and be bestowed upon us everlasting if we did what we were supposed to do, all right. But we go down to verse 15. But there's that but But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, all right, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, then that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. And it goes into this whole list. Curse shall thou be in the city, all right, in the field, all right, wherever we at, these curses, all right. Curse shall be thy basket in thy store. Curse shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of the land, the increase of thy kind in the flocks of thy sheep. All right. Curse shall thou be when thou comest in, and curse shall thou be when thou goest out. We can just, talk about the era that we're in now and take it back to slavery just here in Babylon the Great, and how all these curses remain true. Go verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, rebuke, all right, and all thou settest thine hand unto for to do, because they thought they taught us. I know when I was coming up, going back to so-called Abraham Lincoln, you know what I mean? How he was supposedly have freed the slaves, man. And come to find out, year 2023, we still are very vexed. We're always complaining about something that the enemy's doing. That's because, ladies and gentlemen, we are not free. This is not our rest. You hear the prophets constantly saying, this is not our rest. This is not our rest. All right. That is what Yahweh Shai is coming for. All right. To bring us that rest and to restore our nation. But right now, and that's why our people, are walking around here puffed the hell up. All right. Getting cocky because of the trickery and the crafty counsel of the enemy, how they had us thinking that we were free. You go back to like the 50s, 60s, when I had watched a documentary on TV, but whenever TV came out and Motown started to go, even pre-Motown era, the black and white television era, and when our people started to see ourselves on that doggone TV screen with the doggone singing and the doggone dancing, all right, and as it progressed, all right, through the 50s, the 60s, and then, oh man, the freaking 70s, it really went crazy, and we just got further and further and further from our heritage, our nationality, and to the point, we had no idea, and this goes way back, all right, way back, all right, before we got here in Babylon the Great, all right. Hey, the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee off the land where thou goest. If you let me go down some more. Let me see. Oh man, the 20 verse 25, the Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. All right. And again, this goes all the way back, all right, before we even got here in Babylon the Great, so-called United States, where our enemies have wore us out each and every way. And definitely is true now. And we're going to see the last manifestation of our enemy, smiting us, all right, via Jacob's trouble. Okay. Let me see. Yes, this is the one I really want. Verse 27, the Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt and with the emeralds, all right, and with the scab, all right, going into, these diseases and pestilence. If you Google, stuff like cancer, HIV, all these sexually transmitted diseases, man, you will see that the so-called black people, all right, are leading the way in all that cancer, on all these metabolic diseases. And it goes back to our rebellion. All right. The Lord told us not to eat the damn pork, all right, shrimp, lobster, crab, a whole list of things we weren't supposed to eat. Hell, here in Babylon the Great, those things are considered a delicacy, which, this is why our people have high blood pressure, why people are having heart attacks, why they're getting cancer, all right, because they didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. And generation after generation, they do the same thing. And then generation after generation, we watch our people get sick, murdered, and die every generation after generation. And it all goes back to us not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. All right. The Lord will smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. Definitely, when we came over here after we got off those slave ships, or even during the time that them folks came and got us, from the west side of Africa, you know, after we fled into the mountains, all right, when the Lord told us to flee into the mountains and they eventually came and got us, that was an astonishment, all right? And now we're blinded with madness saying, well, what is going on? Why are these people oppressing us like that even to this very day? Why are they gunning us down in the streets? Why are we always in government housing, you know? Why are our people always at the bottom in everything that we do? The Lord is explaining here in Deuteronomy 28th chapter, man. All the things that we experience even to this very day goes back to these curses of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, man. All right, look at verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her, going into the slave era when the master would, pop our women. All right, and we couldn't do nothing about it, and they was doing Yahweh knows what to us, the men, doing all type of sick shit, to the men, the women, and the children of the nation of Israel, man. This is all going into that, as well as hell, our own brother committing adultery, sleeping with our damn wives, man. All right. This is why we deal with these things this very day. And again, the enemy have taken up a very crafty counsel to have us in the mindset that we're free, that we're prospering. Why? Because they put this image on this damn TV, watching our people slam dunk a ball or doing hot routes, all right, on the football field. All right. And we think and we see that. All right. And we think, hell, our people are free. Got Denzel acting. You know what I mean? Hey, we must be free. This must be our rest. But hey, the Lord, got that remnant saying, hey, this ain't it, man. They're tricking us. They're lying to us. All right. Look at the prison, all right, system and how we flood and fill that up. Mostly our people. Yeah, other nations are in there, and that's definitely in relation to things are getting ready to change. But for the most part, it's always been our people that's filling, especially our men that have filled these doggone prison institutions. All right. Verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people, talking about slavery. All right. And thy eye shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in their hand, no matter what we do. Even because again, this goes way back before we even got here. We was dealing with these curses from disobedience. All right, but we had no might in our hand. Again, you had Mr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all the marching and protests that they was doing in the 70s, just to find ourselves still in that same damn situation when you really open your eyes and look at it and not be so astonished by watching our people get famous and so-called rich get the bag, all right, while the majority of our nation are still in the so-called hood and freaking poverty. All right. And for the rest of them, barely making it with their 9 to 5s, man. All right. Barely making it, one paycheck away from being in freaking poverty. All right. As well as the rest of these nations that pretend here in Babylon the Great is this place was set up to fall by Yahweh by Shem Shah. All right. But I'm gonna leave it at that, man, through the spirit, because I didn't want to make it too long. I wanted to keep it, an example of that confusion of face, especially for new brothers and sisters that hear these terms, man. That's an example of it, man. Old Rashida and the Mari twins and little TJ too. You know what I mean? That's their father, man. So again, that makes them girls Edomites for face value, which means guess what? They won't be in our kingdom. You understand me? They look just like us, but woe to us for that confusion of face, man. All right, so with that being said, I want to give all praises, honor, glory, and fear to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, and until next time, Shalom.